Hello and welcome back to Josh Oddie YouTube. Today we're going to be talking about iron play and how you can dramatically improve this instantly just by changing up your practice program. So starting off, we're just going to go with a 7-iron, and something I talk about a lot is one-dimensional, being one way, hitting it to your pattern. Now this is kind of going to go against that a little bit, but it's just going to give you a little bit more of an option when you get out on the golf course. So a really good way to practice is doing both ball flights, and I say this for a lot of amateur players just because you can get too much one way. Although I've got a pattern, and that being a draw, I'm still in a position where I'm pretty neutral, so that allows me to hit both shots and it doesn't get my pattern too far one way. That being said, when you get a top level golfer that has a pattern, it's pretty controlled. It's within a 5 to 10 yard radius of a draw or a fade. Some people, when they get into their so-called pattern, it might turn into a hook or a slice, and it might turn from a controlled fade being a 5-10 yard movement in the air to someone that's now hitting a big slice and it being 40-50 yards. That's just not controlled. So this is a good drill to bring that back to a neutral position. So we're just on the range and I'm going to go for my pattern, which is a right to left ball flight. Let's see if we can start it right at that line and finish it left. Starts right at the line, finishes left. A pretty easy shot for me. I could probably do that one 9 times out of 10. But now we get to the tough one. My hard shot is the fade. So this one might be an easy shot for you guys that grip it strong and hold that club off. For me, as someone that releases the club, this is actually, you know, my worst nightmare. Let's see if we can just fade one. Start it left of that line, fade it back. And you can see there, I've just hit a block fade. You know, it's kind of done what I said it was going to do, but it's not perfect, you know, and that's where we need to improve. So I've hit my draw absolutely perfectly, but the fade was maybe a little bit too far inside, face was open. Like I say, it's a tough shot for me to hit, but let's go again. And there we go, a much more controlled one there. A pretty good shot, that one. So all of a sudden, I'm aware that that draw shot was pretty easy to do. Straight off the rip, I can just go into my feels and hit that shot. Now, this is the tough one. Let's go for the dead straight one. This is when you know where you're at with your golf swing. Come on. And just block this one. Face was open. Ball kind of stayed dead straight though. Face was just a touch open there. So I'm not too annoyed with that. And I think that's a great understanding for a lot of golfers, is when you get to that neutral shot, if it doesn't go that far offline, I mean, that was 13 yards offline, 39 foot, probably still on the green. And I think that's quite a good feeling, because I know that I can go to a middle flag, I can get really aggressive, and I'm not really going to miss it too far right or left. And that's the beauty of being in between the two. That neutral shot is definitely one that I would work on for a lot of the amateur golfers. And there we go. Much better, that one. 2.9 yards offline. A beautiful golf shot. So that's the first part to this, is understanding where is your ball flight at and can you hit the shots required. So we've done it there. We've hit a fade, we've hit a draw, and we're trying to hit a dead straight one. We've kind of achieved all three there roughly. And that's a really good way to train it, and understand that, you know, if you're too much one way, you're not going to be able to hit that other shot. So it's always an awesome way to practice and just get both shots under control, and then you're going to be somewhere in between the two. That neutral shot is never a bad place to play golf from. Okay, and the second part to this, of getting that iron play to the next level, is going to be distance control. So we've got a 150 shot here, which for me is kind of like a stock 9-iron. We can go middle of stance. Not really going to have to do a great deal with this in terms of golf swing. It's just a normal 9-iron for me, 150. Just a little bit bottom groovy, but let's see what that total number is. 146.5, so 4 yards out, not a bad shot at all. But we're now going to go to pitching wedge, and we're going to go to the same yardage. 150 shot, we're going to go P wedge. We're going to go slightly further back in the stance and just trap this one out there. 148 carry, absolutely juiced it. But let's have a look at that total number. 151.7, so even closer than the 9-iron there. Pretty good shot. Now we're going to go 8-iron, and we can go with an even different ball flight here. My friend Brandon let me into a little secret on this one, so big shout out to him. He's just qualified for the US Open. You're going to see a lot of stuff coming up about that soon. We played a little match on the sim at Hoylake where he played his first major championship. The Monday after, 4 days later, he goes and qualifies for the US Open. The GOAT. So keep your eyes peeled for him, Brandon Robinson-Thompson. Top boy. But anyway, we're going to call this one the BRT because he taught me it. So he just opens the face ever so slightly. We're going to go front of stance and we're going to go upper club and just hit almost like a little, almost like a floppy 8-iron for my yardage here, 150. Let's see what happens. 138, almost flopped this one a bit too much, but you know, it's 3 clubs to 1 yardage, and that's a great skill to have with iron play. Depending on where the pin is, where the wind is, you know, that trap wedge shot might be the number that I hit if the wind's into, you know, to chuck that flight down. The floppy 8-iron might be one that I'm trying to play to a super tight front flag that I need to make birdie to. We might be in match play, partner might be in tight, and you got to flop one up and stick it in there tight. The 9-iron, you know, that's the normal shot. So we've got 3 different shots there. We're just training different patterns and different shots, and that is the key to improving your iron play, is have all these shots in your arsenal. Go out on the course, and depending on what shot pops up, you have got options. Okay, and lastly, a top tip for iron play for all of you is just to control ball position. That is one thing I cannot stress enough. It is so, so important. So depending on where that ball is in your stance is just relative to what shot you're trying to hit for me personally. So if we go further back in the stance, naturally now it's going to trajectory lower because the club's going to have more shaft lean. Like I say, this left arm for me never really moves. It stays in that same position. And then my path is going to be earlier on in the downswing. So notice how when the ball goes back in the stance, it now becomes earlier in the downswing. So my club's still going to the right, which is going to increase the draw. When it goes further up in the stance, we now start to see this club be on the left side of the arc. So it's going to be a lot more neutral, maybe even a fade from that position. Middle of the stance for me, that's why I draw my irons. Because of angle of attack, it's slightly earlier in the downswing, so that means it should technically draw. And relative all to that ball position, so if that ball position's moving a bunch, just be aware that that ball flight's going to change a lot as well. If that ball position is really consistent and it's in the middle every time for the shorter irons, and as the irons progress up, it goes further to that front foot, the ball flight is probably going to neutralise out if you're someone that is similar to me that sees a little draw. Maybe someone that fades it, for them, as that ball goes up, you're probably going to increase the fade as it goes up the bag as well. So that's 3 simple ways that you guys can really improve your iron play. A couple of things that I start off with there and to train it, and then that ball position for me is something that's so important with these irons. And if you guys did learn anything new, please be sure to smash that like button and press subscribe, as it really, really helps me out. And if you want to see more about my new simulator room, I've got a video dropping on Sunday at 6 p.m. GMT. So please press the bell notification and please get on that video, because you do not want to miss all of the upgrades that we've done in here. Thank you all again for watching, and we'll see you all for the next one.